Hello, I'm Brian, and this is the demonstration of how to synchronize the 4 carburetors on my 2003 Kawasaki Concours ZG1000. For those of you watching this, I am not a mechanic. I am not mechanically inclined. However, after past experiences with dealers and local mechanics, the guys through Concours Online or COG, Concours Owners Group, have convinced me and helped me thoroughly with how to service my own Concours. First thing that was done on my Concours is the carburetors were service complete by Steve in sunny Florida. The company is Should Have Been Engineering for what should have been the correct Concours build, as he calls it. Steve is a great guy, very helpful on the phone, explained a lot of stuff. My carburetors were rebuilt by him and sent back to me with the bench synchronization and his recommendation to synchronize it. So I bought the tool. Here it is, one of the many available. This is available on Amazon. I can't tell you the exact price. I think it was around $60 with 15 shipping, so about $75 total. One thing to note on this tool, and I'm going to use my screwdriver to point here, is these little white valves on the tool are critical. The first shipment I got with my tool did not have them, so the company had to send me a few, and the instructions, for some reason my box didn't have either. Once we got those on, it was a world of difference as to using this tool, and I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. It is going to be a little noisy, so I'm going to try and talk loud, so hopefully you can hear me. The carbs have been synced on my motorcycle already. I did this before I videoed, just to make sure I didn't have any distractions and because I don't have a second set of hands around me. If you don't know how to get this point, if you don't know how to get your tank off, or how to hook up these lines to the vacuum systems, I would recommend either getting on Concours Owners Group on the forums, joining the group, which I just did recently, or even just asking around for how to do this. It's actually very simple and a very straightforward process. So I'm going to go ahead and start the bike, and we'll show you what it looks like when the carbs are synced as well. So we've got the bike on. I believe I left it on. I did. Now you'll notice because the vacuum system is not running the petcock, I still have it in the on position. I'm just trying to get the fuel out of the line, but when you are synchronizing so the bike doesn't die, turn the petcock up to prime. That will allow the fuel to feed the engine even without the vacuum system pulling on the petcock. One thing to know, I did learn this the hard way, I will admit. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic. So as I look over at my gauges now, the bike is at running temperature. It's been running for about 10 minutes. I did put a fan on the bike, as you can see, to help keep it cool and simulate the moving air over the engine. The first time I tried this, I didn't, and I noticed it got very hot very fast. Looking over at the carburetor gauges now, again, my screwdriver will be my pointer. You notice the gauges are just barely moving, just a little bit of wiggle. That is, from the instructions, what you want, just a little bit of movement. You don't want to close these valves completely because you can actually trap the air, and the vacuum system will never move. If they're open or if the valves are not there, let me show you what the gauge does. That's how it was the first time I tried to synchronize the carbs. As you can tell, next to impossible to get a solid number. So you just slowly tighten these down, or in my case, add them to the line in the first place because I didn't have them. And once you get just a little bit of wiggle out of the needle, you can start to get a settled number as to where you want it, and that's what you've got. Now, the first thing you do on your synchronization is you would synchronize carbs 1 and 2, which are these two gauges here. You don't care about the red, you don't care about the green. All you care about is the actual number reading and trying to get them to read fairly similar. This screw right down here in between the carburetors, excuse me while I move slow here, this screw right here, you can see the little silver tip, is the adjustment for the 1 and 2 carburetors. I can't tell you which way to turn for 1 or 2, just give it about an 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn for trial and error. Once you get carburetors 1 and 2 matched, and you can see I have them right around an 8 to an 8.5 on the gauge. Might be a little blurry, let me back out. 8 to an 8.5 on the gauge. Then you move over and do the same thing on 3 and 4. Again, you can see both of mine are 8 to an 8.5. The screw for 3 and 4 is right here, between carburetors 3 and 4, kind of straight down from the right side of the bike. Once you have 3 and 4 completed, now you have 1 and 2 are paired and 3 and 4 are paired. We need to pair all 4 carburetors together. That screw is a little bit harder to find. I actually went right here between the frame rails. You see where my screwdriver is here? I went straight down through there, and I will show you where the screw is. Can you see the tip of the screwdriver there? Right on the screw, right there. See it? I'm kind of wiggling it. Sorry, I should use a brighter pointer. That screw right there synchronizes between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And as you can see, once I've got those, they're all sitting at about an 8.5. I'm pretty happy with that result. Overall, I'm very happy with Steve's work from his carburetor rebuild. I have ridden the bike twice already with just the bench synchronization, and have been very happy with it. While I'm giving you a little rundown, let me turn this back to on, get the fuel out of the line. I don't think I'll get it all out because I did buy 3 feet of hose. Another option, instead of using the fuel tank there, is you can just get one of those little, something called fuel bottles or baby bottles that you hook to your fuel line. It just feeds enough gas for this process. I didn't want to pay the money. 3 feet of fuel line cost me a whopping $4. So not a big deal with the attachment to go between the two. Again, my name is Brian. It's a 2003 Kawasaki Concours ZG1000. And like I said, I am not mechanically inclined. If you see me on the forums, I have the name Brian on the forums. And you'll see me many times tell people my knowledge, especially about carburetors and engines, is about like my knowledge of rocket science. You do not want me working for NASA. Thank you very much, and have a good day.